Hey there everyone, it's Tanya from Royal City Nursery, and today we are going to be repotting houseplants. Why do we repot a houseplant? Well, there's a whole bunch of plants that really at some point they need a bigger root structure. And when we're indoors, one of the things we need to remember is the only nutrient, or really the only care that plant is getting, has got to come from us. If they're outside, we've got Mother Nature to take care of them. So Mother Nature does the rain. If we plant things in the ground, the roots can do what they want and they can spread as they please. Inside, it's a little different monster. So today, we are going to start with the repot of this little guy. Look at the beautiful green and yellow foliage on this. So right now, it's in a 4-inch grower's pot, and we want to pot them up into the next size. So we're in a 4-inch pot, so that means we're going to go to a 6-inch pot, nothing bigger. So if you figure we're doing about an inch on either side, so when you're potting, you only want to go up one pot size. So from a 4 to a 6 to an 8, an 8 to a 10, and so on and so on. Again, you only want an inch on either side. If your absolute favorite ceramic pot in the world is too big for your plant, then even to do into a grower's pot and then put it in your drop-in. Sometimes that might be what you need to do. So we've selected our pots. We've got a 6-inch ceramic pot. Now indoors, super important, this one comes with attached saucers, so we're not going to make a mess. And the other thing we're going to do is, because we do change our mind every once in a while when pots become a little bit of a decorative feature, we're actually not going to pot directly into this. What we're going to do is pot into a standard grower's pot. So at least this we can use as a drop-in, and it hides all of those little sins. So in terms of potting, we need a few different things. Certainly you need an appropriate soil. So the soil we're using for this is a tropical soil. This one is suitable for foliage, and it's got some basic nutrients in it. It's also going to be really light and fluffy because that's what's going to help the root structure get going. So that's what I've got here. I've certainly got some pea gravel in my little itty bitty pot, and this is what we're going to do for drainage. We're going to put that in the bottom first. When we're done, because we're coming into active growing season, so right now we're in the mid to end of March, which is the perfect time for potting and fertilizing. So we're going to do it all in one foul swoop. In terms of fertilizer, I want to make sure I'm using some low numbers. So this one is a 1-2-1, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. And again, awesome for houseplants and really good for foliage. Why is this the one we're using for transplanting? Because the middle number, phosphorus, is something that the roots need. So phosphorus helps root production and flower production. We're repotting, we need roots. The other thing that we're going to do when we're totally finished, just to make everybody look really happy, is a little bit of a leaf shine on the little devil and just get him popping. So let's get started. So very first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to add our pea gravel to the bottom. There we go. So actually I've got a little much in there. So let's take a bit out. There we go. I want to go about an inch in depth. And I know it's crazy. You're thinking, oh my gosh, we've got gravel everywhere, because a little bit is falling out the holes. Once it actually gets compacted in there, it's going to lock so you don't get it coming out the holes. So this is just in the beginning thing. So we'll get rid of those, and then we're going to take our pot, or take our plant. Now we know this one's ready for potting because look, we got roots coming out the bottom, so it's already starting to scream at us. When we're taking this out of the pot, we do want to be careful, and the easiest way is if you watch what I've done with my fingers. So I've got my fingers, there we go, all the way across the pot. There's another one on the side. So when I turn it upside down, I'm actually supporting the plant. I'm going to give a little squeeze in all directions so we make sure it's nice and loose, and take the pot off. Yep, absolutely time for potting. Look at these beautiful, beautiful roots. So first thing I'm going to do is test it for depth. So if I put it in, and it's actually sitting at about the right depth. I want the top of the soil, get rid of my fingers there. I want the top of the soil roughly at this rim with the pot. So I need the top of the soil to come down about 3/4 of an inch, half to 3/4 of an inch or so. So depth is correct, but we are just going to take these roots, we're going to break them up very, very gently and just give a little bit. There we go. So I don't know if you can see it, but we've got a few of the hair roots starting to sever. So we're going to do that in a couple of different spots. We want to do that super, super gentle because we don't want to hurt it. But at the same time, by doing this, what it does is it's going to promote the plant to produce more roots off of these tips. So we ultimately get something that's a much better rooted plant. The other thing we're going to do is take a look at the bottom, and there's a couple of roots that are going all the way around the bottom. So we're going to do a bit of a sever there, and we'll do a bit of a sever on the side. There we go. So we didn't really hurt anything, but again, we're starting to promote new growth. So into the pot it goes, and now I need to pack the rest with soil. So with my potting soil, before we started, I took a mister to it so it's not dry. It's not dry like flour. That's a little bit of a consistency we don't want. We want it to be slightly damp. And what you'll notice I'm doing is we're putting the soil all the way around first. Whoops, sorry, get my fingers out of the way. There we are. So we've got soil all the way around. And now that I've got soil all the way around, I can start to tamp it down. So one of the things we want to keep in mind with potting is that air and roots do not mix. So we don't want our roots getting a whole lot of air pockets. So that's why we want to tamp it down. Whether we do that with a couple of fingers, like I was doing, like that, or whether we do that with our thumb, like that, totally works, whatever suits your fancy. Now all we need to do is just finish the rest with soil. So we'll get the top in there. And everything we do, squish, 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 squish. We got to get rid of those air pockets. And at the same time, what I'm doing is I'm checking to make sure that the crown of the plant is still sitting at the soil depth I want. So super, super easy. There we go. The other thing I've done, and I do it without thinking anymore at this point, is I've made sure the middle of the plant is in the middle of the pot. That way we get even growth. So I've got a bunch in here now. All I need to do now is water it. So with our watering, my watering can is 3 liters. I've got this full. There's 3 liters of water in there. When I read the instructions on the back, should I actually have my glasses on, we're 5 milliliters per 1 liter of water. So that means we've got 3 liters in here. I'm going to put 5 mils in here 3 times, or 3 teaspoons, or 1 tablespoon. We did that before filming, so now all I need to do is do a little bit of a water. And when we're watering, you're going to find I go all the way around the pot. I don't want to water just in one spot, otherwise I create a hole. And the first time, we're going to water a little bit more. We're going to do a little bit on a regular basis because I want to settle the air pockets out. Yeah, we see it coming out the bottom, and that's okay. It needs to. So we're going to pay a little bit more attention to this and water it a tiny bit more. There we go. We'll let it do some draining. And then the very last thing that I'm doing is I just take my fingers and I want to make sure that our soil is level, right? So we've got a little bit of a lake going on there. That's okay. It's spring. It's a good time for lakes and puddles, and even better time to get our fingers all nice and dirty. Our very, very last thing we're going to do is give this little guy a spray with our leaf shine. So with the leaf shine, we need to make sure we shake it well first. And we're going to give it a bit of spritz. Kind of think of it like hairspray. There we go. So we've got something that's nice and shiny. We're going to take off a couple of the spots, a couple of the leaves that got muddy. And really, when we're cleaning our houseplants, it's a good idea to do this on a semi-regular basis, because really at some point, it does actually get your houseplants, like everything else in the house, do get a little bit dusty. We want to get the dust off the leaves because that helps encourage proper transpiration and proper photosynthesis as well. There we go. We're looking better already. All we've got left to do is pop them in. There we are. We've repotted a houseplant. Super easy. Again, we've got puddles. That's awesome. That's okay. We've got dirt under our fingernails. It must be spring. So have a ton of fun. Enjoy repotting. If you've got any questions, please feel free to give us a call. 519-824-4998. It's awesome talking to you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.